requirements, and our families and community are included in part of that. Specifically, we're required to inform our families about our title program, and that's our Title I meeting, which this part of this evening is. Another part is encouraging family engagement. The federal government puts great emphasis on including families in children's education. They believe, and well, we believe with them too, that your family's participation is greatly supports the success of children in school. So a little later, we're going to talk about some of the opportunities for parents to be involved. We also like to keep two-way open communication going. We like to share what we're doing with our families and community, and it's very important to us that you also give us your feedback about ways to make our programs better and how to better meet the needs of our students. So with that two-way communication, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Amy Daniels, and she's going to talk about some ways to do that.
Yeah, so we welcome and appreciate any input, feedback. Information is posted on the district website, as you can see here. It is under the Parents and Students tab under Title I, so you can always go there. Information is also available, again, district and school websites, through the newsletters. Parent-teacher conferences are great. We also have an annual parent survey that we put out at the end of the year. We really appreciate feedback from that. We use that to evaluate our program. And a good way of communication is always, directly with the principal and teacher. So email is probably a great way right now, Dojo, Google Classroom. So again, we appreciate any input and suggestions you have.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amy and Susan. I'm going to talk a little bit about our curriculum and what we use. I should say, and I should have said this at the very beginning, we do have, we are monitoring the chat. So if you do have questions and you don't feel comfortable coming off mute, just asking, which we're perfectly open to, please use the chat if you have specific questions, and we'll answer those as we go. So we do use a literacy framework. It's a comprehensive English language arts framework for all of our K-8, and it has different components to it. There is a word study program, there's language and word study. The big three are language and word study, reading workshop, and writing workshop. And then within each of those categories, you'll see different activities that our students do. So they're doing interactive reading, they're doing a guided reading and independent reading, and they're also doing writer's workshop, which also includes shared writing and guided writing and independent writing. And so our literacy framework also changes over time. And all of these documents that we're showing to you today are on our website under that Title I link. And we will also be posting this presentation on our website also. So it's important that you know that we do change over time. We know that our K2 really needs to focus on those foundational literacy skills. And so we're really have a big focus on phonics and phonemic awareness. And then you'll see as we get older, we move that to more like novels and literacy circles and working on the comprehension skills. So just wanted to show you our literacy framework and what all that entails. Susan, you want to talk a little bit about our standards?
I'd be glad to talk about that too. As I mentioned before, the purpose of the title program is to ensure that all students meet the challenging state standards. And the Ohio Department of Education does outline academic state standards for all grade levels and all academic areas for students in Ohio. They're listed on their website. This particular slide that Dr. Alec has up can be found on our website. If you get on our home page and pick Teaching and Learning, and then click on Curriculum, you'll be able to see this slide. On the right here, where it says resources, ELA resources, and so forth, there's a lot of links and information that can lead you directly to the Ohio Department of Education. At the Ohio Department of Education, the state standards are there. Third grade reading guarantee information is there as well. On the left-hand side of the slide, where it says curriculum and curriculum maps, that's specific to our instruction that we deliver in our classrooms, and it's aligned directly to the state standards. By the way, I should have said this at the beginning too. State standards identify specifically what a student needs to know and do in a subject area in a specific grade level. Can you do the next slide there, Jana? Thank you. If you click on curriculum or any of those grade levels from the previous slide, you'll get our performance standards. The performance standard lists exactly what the Ohio State standard is for a specific grade level. This is third grade reading. When you're looking at the standard, it lists vocabulary students need to know. It also lists the criteria for success on the right of this slide. And again, you can find that at our district website. Criteria for success tells what a student would be able to demonstrate if they were proficient, if they were advanced, or maybe they need some more practice if they may be basic or limited, and some more instruction and support to learn. There are guiding questions there. Our teachers use those. If you're working with your student at home, you may want to look at those as well and use some of those questions. You may want to look at the vocabulary and go over that with your student. At the bottom of this slide, it also identifies the skills that a student would need to master in the previous grade before learning the skill in this grade. So they're kind of the building blocks, the stepping stones. It also lists at the bottom what the student will need to do in the next school year as they build on the skill that they would learn in this current grade level. So a lot of information there. We have performance standards for English language arts. We have them for math. I believe we have them for science and social studies. Is that accurate, Jana?
That is correct.
Okay. So a lot of knowledge there. I really encourage you to go, or a lot of information there. I really encourage you to go and look to see what your student specifically needs to do. One other thing that can be found before when you're at this part of our website, it also maps out what standards we teach each quarter of the year. And so you can look to see what your child will be working on throughout the first 9 weeks, second 9 weeks, and so forth, and follow along that way too with your child's education. And for more information about what your child's learning and how to help your child at home, you always want to reach out to your teachers and reach out to your title teachers. They would be glad to explain specifically what they're working on in the classroom and how to best help your child at home. There's something else. Sure. If there's something else there you think we need to add, Dr. Alex, I appreciate you saying it.
Well, I would like, we've had about 3 or 4 more families join us, so I would like to just take a few moments and welcome you. And if, I think you pronounce your name Chans, or Chans. If you'd like to come off mute and introduce yourself, we would love for you to do that. We're a very small group, so I think we can take some time to welcome each person. And that's okay if you don't want to, you can just say hi in the chat. Okay, that's all right also. Our next part that we're going to talk about is the assessments that we take. And just want to provide you a little bit of one of the things with Title I is that you do have to have a robust data system. And you do have to have a way to measure progress of students. And we need that to be done formally and informally. And one of the instruments that we use is something that hopefully all of you have heard, and it's called MAP, or NWEA. And that stands for, it's the assessment of progress, the measures and assessment of progress. And we do it for reading and math. Some of our schools also use it for science. At the high school level, we use it for subject-specific courses such as algebra and geometry. This is it's not a criterion reference test. It is a normed referenced assessment. So it is normed across the whole nation. And we measure how our students are doing across other students in their grade level. And we use this as a universal screener to see which students may need additional services or may be at risk of not being successful in their grade level. The second assessment that we use at the elementary level is new this year, and it's called the Next Step Guided Reading Assessment. This is a reading assessment that really drills into skills. As we talked earlier at our K2 level, we really need to focus in on those foundational skills. This assessment will allow us to find out where your students are with their developmental word knowledge, with how they're reading, their listening comprehension, their reading comprehension, and their fluency and accuracy, as well as what cueing systems that they're using. So it does provide us a lot more specific skill data information. And then, of course, we do have our state assessments that we use. They start at third grade. They go all the way up to our end of course assessments in high school. And we offer those assessments in English, language arts, math, and science, and social studies. I also want to alert you to, on our website, we do have, I'm going to change what I'm sharing right now. Hopefully you can see it. Can you see this? Susan,
Yes,
are you able to see this document?
Yes, the assessment calendar is up.
Yes, the assessment calendar. So just, it looks like I actually linked the wrong one. So I'm going to, this one, oh no, this one was updated on September 30th. So yes. So this is really important for you to know when we're giving each of our assessments, when the assessment windows are, what assessments we're giving, what grade levels take certain assessments, and so forth. As you're planning doctor's appointments or you're planning maybe extended vacations or something, it's really important to keep these dates in mind, especially our state assessments. We do have state assessments coming up for our third graders in the middle of October. So it's important that you keep these dates on your calendar so that you know exactly which assessments we're taking and when. And if you ever have any questions about the assessments that we're taking, please feel free to reach out to myself or one of your principals, and we will be able to assist you. All right. Am I sharing the screen yet again or no?
Not yet.
All right. Okay. While I'm getting that up, are there any questions that anyone would like to ask? No? All right.
You are back.
I am back. That's always a good thing. All right. So just going to our next slide, which is all the cool and fun things that we get to do with our students. And maybe Paul or Lori, you might want to chime in on this one. But some of the things that our schools do are have literacy nights, where you can come in and kind of see what does a guided reading lesson look like, what are some fun activities that you can do at home. We have math nights. We have our parent-teacher conference nights. We have book fairs, and I believe Asbury is actually doing a virtual book fair right now, so that's pretty exciting. We have classroom performances. Matter of fact, some of those pictures that you see right there on that slide are from Sedalia when I think it's a living museum that I was able to go see, and you can see that's Thomas Edison and Michelle and Barack Obama, who shared their information of their historical significance with me when I was able to go to Sedalia. We also do a lot of reading incentives. Matter of fact, I wish I could share the picture, but Asbury just won the Lexia Monthly Award. We use Lexia for our students that may need some additional support with reading and the phonics skills and our foundational skills. So we do a lot of reading incentives and much, much more. Paul or Lori, is there anything you'd like to share?
I would like for Paul to kind of highlight, but I would like to clarify that our literacy nights and all of those things have traditionally been in the building with a lot of community involvement, and that's going to look differently this year. But I'm going to guess we're going to come up with some creative virtual ways to continue to, showcase what we do to support literacy here in the building. But Mr. Spires could probably tell you, because last year was my first time to participate in our literacy night here at Dunlo. It was amazing. So do you want to talk about that, Mr. Spires?
Sure. Yes, literacy nights are definitely a fun event that each building sponsors. We have done it as a district, came together at the high school and done them that way. But each building will sponsor their own literacy nights. And it is a very fun activity where we bring in a lot of the outside community. We had giveaways at ours last year, different stations. The teachers have set up different stations, and the kids enjoy going around and learning the different little skills that do entail with reading. Parent input is always very welcome and important. I always tell parents that the parents spend so much more time with the kids than we do at the school building. And so reading really starts at home. They can greatly improve their child's reading by just practicing the skills that they're learning at school, practicing those at home by reading, preferably 15 to 20 minutes each night. So the time that the parents spend with their child reading, it's just very valuable. And of course, parent participation during parent-teacher conferences is very important too. As a title program, we put out progress reports twice a year. One will come in December, typically, and then one will come at the end of the year. And so we love talking about all these different skills and what we're working with the kids at parent-teacher conferences. So those are just very valuable ways that parents can give input.
There we go. Thank you, Paul. That is awesome. I should say that I know Groveport Elementary is having their parent-teacher conferences tonight. And so I know that we have a lot of parents engaged virtually. These ones in the fall, the parent-teacher conferences in the fall will be mostly virtual, but our teachers will be in the building. So if you don't prefer to do it virtually and you would like to meet with your teacher, please talk with them or talk with your building principal, because that could be scheduled. You just need to make some arrangements. All right. Hey, Lori, do you want to talk about how parents can get involved and make their voices heard?
Absolutely. And again, this year is quite the anomaly, but we are looking for ways to engage our parents through our committees that we have in the building. And so we have, and this isn't related to title, but just as an example, we do have a PTO virtual meeting scheduled for next Tuesday. So we will be asking parents if they would like to help on advisory committees or on our, as we're looking at curriculum. This year, we're evaluating our social studies curriculum. So we would really love to have parents and guardians who might be able to provide input into that decision making. We have a variety of ways that schools across the district are trying to engage with families through announcements and newsletters and forums like this. So any way that you can, look for getting information. And if there's something that you want and would like to initiate conversation, that's what us principals are here for. We want to hear from you. We want to be partnering with you to make our community stronger and to help our students be more successful. I think that there are some, each building has some specific documents that need reviewed. And so if you get a phone call or an email asking for your assistance, we're going to look for ways to make that as painless as possible. So maybe a quick virtual meeting, and then maybe you have to review a document, those kinds of things. But if you get an email asking for your participation, please jump in. We'll help you. We're all learning this year. Everything feels new this year. And I think this would be a great opportunity for any family member who wants to try to get involved to just jump in and let us help support you.
And Lori, I know one way that you try to get your parents involved is on Sunday nights. Don't you? Is it 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock? What time do you do your fabulous Facebook time?
It's actually 6:30. And I think you're being very generous when you say fabulous, but it is quite an experience, and it's been really good. Our community has gotten so strong here, and I know that our families feel that they are acknowledged and supported. And we don't always have all the answers, but we're working together to get them.
Yeah, I was saying the other day that I really think one of the silver linings in all of this is that our families are really seeing what we do every day. You know, many of our families haven't had the opportunity to Zoom in or Google Meet in to the classroom as much as they're getting to now. So just getting to be able to see what we're doing is wonderful. And the more that we can engage our community and our families, the stronger our school system will be. We'd also love for you to attend board meetings. Our next board meeting is the 15th. It is at our district servicing center. Miss Drummy, our treasurer, I'm hoping that she has got audio. Miss Drummy, do you have audio now?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Yes, awesome. Okay. We're going to go to your slide where you could talk to us a little bit about how we use our finances in title.
Sure. So I don't know if all families realize that, of course, your taxpayer money within our general fund supports a lot of our initiatives, but we also get federal grant money that is really the backbone of some of the services that you've heard about tonight. And that major program is Title I. And that is a federal entitlement grant that flows to all school districts, really, because it is considered an entitlement in order to support disadvantaged youth for reading and math. And we received $2.3 million from the federal government. It comes from the state of Ohio as an intermediate source. And we actually have an obligation to, share with you how we use that money. And primarily, we have $1.4 million in salaries. Those salaries support the positions that you see there. We have over 13 teachers, 4 parapros, and 1.6 administrative support. And what that means when you see that 0.6, of course, we don't have a 0.6 of a person, but that person has other duties. And so the other duties are paid from a different source. Then you see below that, we have the benefits related to those positions of $661,000. And that covers retirement, group health care benefits for medical, dental, life, and Medicare. So that's a big chunk of the budget. Then what is more, I'm going to call discretionary, where we have some flexibility to augment what the delivery that the staff members providing is through services, supplies, and services. We spend $126,000 is what's in the budget this year. We use that for teacher subs. If we have to contract for a parapro, we provide those teachers professional development, perhaps mileage reimbursement. We also buy some instructional software. And what you may not realize, our non-public schools are also eligible to participate in our federal programs. And as a result of that, we actually have 7 of our non-publics that participate. All right. And so the last 2 categories, the supplies I mentioned, we have a budget of $51,000 for supplies. That really supports the family and community engagement initiatives that you heard about earlier, the literacy nights, and those types of activities. Sometimes even books and materials are actually sent home for the student to keep at home. And the last category is what we call indirect cost. And I'm sorry to get accounting technical on you. That's like overhead type items. So for the administrative services that the district provides or technology services, we actually have an indirect cost rate that is audited and certified. That is what we are allowed to then reimburse the general fund from the federal grant to offset some of those services. And those, I think that was 5 categories, actually comprise the entire budget. Do we have any questions on those types of items that we're spending money on?
Felicia, I know you really want people to speak up here and say, no, don't spend money on that. Spend money on this.
Well, you know what I've realized after many years of being a treasurer? I always say we are sharing a checkbook. And I know that if we each opened up our checkbooks and we looked at what we each spent, we would never, some of us would go, oh, I can't believe you spent that much on whatever. I would never spend that. So people will always have a different idea of how the money should be spent. We're really trying to grow that student. And really all of these things are intended to help that student grow and get to the next level.
Absolutely. Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you.
Well, we've come to the point where we really want your feedback. In the chat, I have put a link. And if you wouldn't mind clicking on that link, and you will go to a tab that looks just like this. Susan, can you give me the heads up when I'm presenting it?
I sure will. You got it.
All right. So we'd really just like your feedback. This is a very quick survey. We just would like to have your email address. If you could please tell us which schools. Jamie, I believe you said Madison. If you have children in other schools, please let us know. We also have our new Little Cruiser down here. So if you're not sure what Little Cruiser is, that's our new preschool program that we've taken preschool out of the elementaries and put them in one building. And it's now our Little Cruiser campus for all of our preschool. We've done that, one, because we think it's a great way to keep all of our preschoolers together and learning together and socially benefiting from having each other together. But another reason was because of COVID-19 and us needing additional space within our buildings so that we could do social distancing and have as many students that wanted to be in the hybrid model as we could allow in there. So once you check which schools you are, just let us know how informative you thought the meeting was. If you had a big takeaway, what would you like to see added or changed? Would you like to be contacted to serve on any of the district committees or volunteer for a building activity? And then any of those additional comments. You can also click this button right down here if you'd like to have a copy of your responses to the survey.
And Jana, you've put a few links in the chat there, but the bottom link that says forms is the link they want to click on to complete the survey.
That is correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, if we don't have anything else, we would like to thank you all for joining us. I think we had 3 or 4 families. Abigail, thank you. And Jamie, thank you. And is it Somche? Thank you for coming. Paul and Lori and Jamie and Susan and Felicia, thank you all so very much.
Thank you too.
I'll stay on for just a few moments, just in case anyone would like to ask any questions. But I hope you all have a wonderful evening and get out and enjoy this gorgeous evening for a little walk.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Susan and Amy, thank you so much. I'll see you all tomorrow. Samche, did you have a question? I can hold on a few minutes. Are you looking for the mute? It's down at the bottom. If you hover, you'll see where you can take your microphone off. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good night.
See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.